Clark gets hurt, and guess what? Your demand vanishes because people ain't going to pay up to see these athletes that are ungrateful that their sports grow.
That was the sentiment from countless fans. The moment Caitlin Clark's injury sent the WNBA All-Star Game into a financial death spiral. But what if it told you that multi-million-dollar disaster was just the initial shockwave? The story doesn't end there. In fact, that's where the real narrative begins. Because while the entire sports world was focused on the chaos in Indianapolis, a much bigger, more dangerous story was unfolding in the shadows. The real consequence of the Clark disaster is that European leagues are now actively poaching the WNBA's top players. And it's starting to look like the beginning of a full-blown exodus. Today, we're connecting the dots on Theon's story. The league office is praying you don't hear. How the WNBA's instability is being used as a weapon to lure its biggest stars overseas for more money and more respect. If you're here for the real story behind the headlines, do me a solid and smash that like button. It tells us we're on the right track and helps us filter out the noise for you. Okay, so let's set the stage, Becca, to understand why players are looking for an escape route. You first have to understand the scale of the disaster that just exposed how fragile the league truly is. This wasn't just a few fans changing their minds. This was a market collapse, a financial vote of no confidence in the WNBA as a product without Caitlin Clark. The numbers are the moment Clark officially announced she had to rest her body and was pulling out of the All-Star festivities. The get-in price for the game crashed 48%, dropping from $121 to just $64 in a matter of hours. Think about that. These were tickets that had previously hit a record-setting average sale price of $262, the highest in WNBA All-Star history. And suddenly, teams couldn't give them away. The city of Indianapolis was projected to see a $10 million economic impact from the weekend, and a good chunk of that vanished overnight. This event proved in the harshest financial terms possible that the league has certainly built its entire growth model around a single point of failure, and that single point of failure is not injured, overworked, and showing signs of breaking down. And that, my friends, is the blood in the water that has opportunistic predators circling from across the Atlantic. But let's be very clear. The story here isn't just a booth money. It's about why the money vanished. It vanished because the league's number one asset, the Golden Goose, is being run into the ground. And this is the part where every other player in the WNBA starts paying very, very close attention. This isn't a Cassioff, a simple fluke injury. The deep search file confirms that Caitlin Clark has already missed 11 games this season due to 4 separate muscle injuries. 4 of them, this is the same player. Whoa, it's a documented fact, never missed a single game during her anti-recklage career at Iowa or during her 2024 rookie season. She was an Iron Woman. So, what changed?
Seeing firsthand what Caitlin Clark is worth to this league, especially to
the narrative you see bubbling up on media from fans and commentators points the finger squarely at the Indiana Fever's organization. There's widespread speculation that the team's medical staff and their injury management protocols are completely inundated, especially when compared to on-base standards. Even her own coach, Stephanie White, has been vocal about unprecedented physical toll on Clark, stating, "Someone who has the ball in her hands as much as Caitlin. The physicality that she's experiencing for 40 minutes. It causes you to load differently, explode differently, accelerate and decelerate differently. When the league's most valuable player goes from indestructible to injury-prone in less than a season, other players status, they see a system that failed to protect its most important asset. And they start asking themselves a very simple question. If they'll let that pay to her, what's stopping it from happening to me? And that fear, that crisis of confidence is the exact painting the international predators have been waiting for. Okay, now we're about to connect some dots that take us deep rumor territory. But this is being reported by credible industry sources, and it is the key to this entire story. The deep search file contains a bombshell report. European basketball leagues are now reportedly using the WNBA's instability and these very injury management issues as direct selling points to recruit American players. They are actively poaching. They watch the Clark disaster unfold. They see that player frustration and they are making their move. So let's break down what that sales pitch from Europe actualizes like, because it's a devastating leaf effect one net woo punch. First, they led with the obvious, the money. Now, it's not a universal rule, but the reports are clear that offers from top European leagues sometimes exceed WNBA salaries for players who feel undervalued and underpaid at home. A topic we're about to get to. A bigger paycheck is an easy way to get their attention. It's the hook. It's the reason their agent picks up the phone. But it's not the knockout blow. The real knockout blow. The part of. The pitch that is landing with terrifying precision right now has nothing to do with money. It's the premise of everything. The WNBA is currently failing to provide professional respect, stability, and career security. The source files are explicit. European leagues are selling American players on more professionality and career security. Think about it from a player's perspective. UGS watched the league's biggest star get physically broken down. You've seen reports and the social media chatter questioning the quality of her team's medical staff. You see the league itself as fragile and chaotic.
BA, pay attention. Pay attention. We saw the viewership drop, ticket sales dropping, attendance dropping.
And right in the middle of that out, a call comes in from a Taman, the EuroLeague, or the Spanish Liga Femenina. They're not just offering you a contract, they're offering you peace of mind. They are promising superior medical care and professional stance that can protect your body and extend your career. When your only business model seems to be stars into the ground and hope for the best, an offer of stability and competent medical oversight become almost irresistible. They are turning the WNBA's greatest weakness into their own greatest strength. And right now, the league is pouring gasoline on that fire with its own internal conflicts. And that gasoline is the absolute chow surrounding the league's collective agreement, or CBA. This, I swear, the story gets really ugly because I swear is not just about mismanagement from own team anymore. This is a league with a breakdown of trust between the players and the front office, and it could not have come at a worse time. The current CBA is set to expire on October 31st, 2025. And the negotiations are turning into a public war. At the very same All-Star game that was collapsing finically, the players sent a unified, powerful message. They took the court for warm-ups wearing black shirts with a stark white message. Pay us what you AOEs. This wasn't a subtle hint. It was a public declaration of disrespect. That frustration is being echoed by the union's leadership. WNBA Vice President Breanna Stewart, one of the league's biggest stars, flat out called a recent CBA meeting a wasted opportunity. Angel Reese was even more blunt, stating, "We won't stop until we got what we want."
You know why tickets prices dropped? Because people quit buying the damn tickets. People was asking for refunds for the damn tickets. So you want to know what they had to do? Damn near give them away, bro.
So, on one hand, you have the players unified in their anger and feeling profoundly disrespected. And on the other, you have Commissioner Kathy Engelbert telling the media that negotiations are productive and constructive. That massive disconnect between the players' reality and the commissioner's rhetoric is the fertile ground where European recruiters are planting their seeds. It validates their entire sales pitch. They can approach a player and say, "Why fight for respect from a league that doesn't get it when we're waiting to give it to you right now?" This isn't just a threat for role players looking for a bigger tone more. This is creating a potential domino effect that could impact the league's biggest names. Many top American stars, including former MVPs, have a history of playing overseas. In the WNBA offseason, the difference now. The existential threat is that the toxic environment at home might just convince them not to come back. When you see your own league marginalize and ginger-dried talents like A.A. Wilson in favor of a singular obsession with Clark, the idea of being the undisputed star for a team in Europe has to be incredibly tempting. And if that domino falls, if a player of that caliber decides to leave for good, the consequences for the WNBA would be catastrophic. This isn't just about losing one player. It's about the entire perception of the league on a global scale. The source files are painfully clear on this. A successful poaching campaign from Europe would devastate the WNBA's competitive quality and marketability. Think about it. The league loses its top talent. The in-court product suffers. Viewership declines even further, and sponsors start playing. Meanwhile, those same players are now elevating a competing league as international organizations are investing heavily in marketing and broadcast infrastructure to position themselves as legitimate competitors. Every star the WNBA loses is a direct gain for its rivals. The end result is a hollowed-out league, a shell of its former self that has lost its grip on being the undisputed top destination for women's basketball in the world. The Caitlin Clark All-Star disaster wasn't the disease. It was the public fever revealed the deep internal infections plaguing the WNBA, a reckless dependency on one player, a growing crisis of confidence in player health and safety, and a toxic, broken relation with its own union. The league is now in a desperate race time. It has to fix these fundamental problems from the inside while fending off an existential threat from the outside. The poaching has already begun. The exodus is no longer a possibility. It's a reality in progress. And the clock is ticking. So now the investigation. Over to you, the narrative analysts. In the comments below, let me know your take. Is this European threat a real existential crisis for the WNBA? Or is it just a savvy negotiation tactic being leaked by the players' union to gain leverage in CBA talks? Let me know your theory. And if you want to stay ahead of the curve on this story and other narrative-eshy mainstream media refuses to touch, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. We're committed to connecting the dots and the stories that matter. Finally, if you know another fan who needs to understand the real battle being fought for the future of the WNBA, share this video. Continuing the conversation is the only way the full story gets